Discover the incredible life-changing secrets of Earth's hidden Archean Eon. Exposed for you. In the heart of Maple Grove, Sarah lived a life marked by struggle yet woven with love. Watching her children, Mia and Jake, play in the front yard laughing, chasing, and dreaming brought a warmth to her chest. A fleeting glimpse of a world beyond the daily grind. As a single mother working as a janitor at the local middle school, her days began before dawn and often stretched long into the evening. Tired eyes and weary bones were her constant companions, yet her spirit flickered stubbornly, just like the light illuminating their modest home. She hoped for a better future, a life less defined by economic hardship. One chilly morning, the heartbeat of Maple Grove quickened. Townspeople gathered to share stories, their voices intertwining with the rustling leaves. An ancient artifact had been discovered, something linked to the Archean Eon, a period whispered about in hushed tones. This could change everything. The chatter crescendoed, igniting curiosity and excitement in Sarah's heart. Could this artifact be the key to unlocking a new chapter for her children? Maybe, just maybe, she thought, as dashed hopes flickered like fragile candle flames. As community discussions sparked around dinners and coffee shops, excitement turned to urgency when news of a wealthy developer arrived, promising to transform their quaint town into a bustling tourist hub. Upscale shops, luxury homes, would that come at the cost of their beloved Maple Grove? The thought caused a knot to tighten in Sarah's stomach. The very essence of their lives felt threatened. The town hall meeting. Anticipation crackled in the air like a charged storm cloud. Sarah stood, surrounded by familiar faces, heart racing as tension filled the room. The microphone felt heavy in her hand, but she knew she had to speak. This artifact doesn't just symbolize potential wealth, it represents who we are as a community. Tears pricked her eyes as she recounted her family's struggles, the echoes of late-night work, the laughter of children playing in their tiny backyard. Don't we have a choice? Her voice trembled but held strength, rising above the murmurs. Behind her, she sensed the soft nods of support, encouragement fueling her resolve. Each onlooker shared a piece of her heart. It was there, in that room crowded with memories and dreams, that the weight of struggle transformed into a collective will. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. But just as hope swelled, a voice from the back shattered the moment. What about progress? Someone challenged, igniting a firestorm of discord that buzzed through the crowd. Voices clashed like thunder, each opinion adding to the chaos. Tension mounted, and for a moment, Sarah felt the suffocating weight of despair. Could her heartfelt plea be enough? The room surged with uncertainty, a palpable wave of doubt washing over her. As disappointment trickled in, she stood among her neighbors, torn between dreams and reality, wondering if their cherished bonds could withstand the threat of losing everything. The glow of hope flickered dimly as she faced the tumult of conflicting ideals. Would they band together to protect their home, or allow the lure of wealth to sever the roots that held them close? The tension in the room felt like a live wire, and Sarah's heart raced as shouts erupted like cannon fire. Every voice held weight, every opinion a knife. The sense of community that once held them together started unraveling before her eyes. It pained her to see neighbors turn against each other, fueled by a perception that progress meant leaving behind their way of life. Let us not get carried away. A calm voice broke through the din. It was Tom, the local bakery owner. His weathered face was lined with years, yet his eyes held a warmth that brought the room to an abrupt pause. We can embrace change without losing what makes Maple Grove special. With a ripple of agreement running through the crowd, Sarah felt a faint flicker of hope reignite. If Tom could unite them just for a moment, maybe others could feel the same. Look around, she called, heart pounding. What's our town without memories? Without our roots? We have to protect our homes for our kids. She gestured toward her children playing silently in the hallway, momentarily forgotten as they watched the older generation collide. The crowd softened, their anger giving way to reflection. The sound of laughter from her children broke through the chaos, reminding everyone present of the lives intertwined within those old trees and familiar streets. As the meeting continued, the dialogue shifted from division to possibility. Ideas flowed. What if they could create a heritage trail that showcased their history? A festival celebrating Maple Grove's vibrant past, while welcoming visitors to discover why it was so special. Yet, just as Sarah began to envision a compromise, a voice called out from the back, more aggressive this time. "That sounds nice, but it won't pay the bills." It was Jerry, an outspoken member of the town council. Though his words carried rough edges, they resonated deep. Safety and money mattered too, didn't they? Sarah felt her shoulders sag at the weight of truth in Jerry's statement. The warmth of hope became ice cold, fear settling back in. Would they ever find common ground? Or would the value of tradition crumble in the face of financial ambitions? With her voice shaking again, she spoke one last time. "If we fight for our town, maybe we fight for a chance for better jobs and higher wages too. But we have to do it together." She could feel her heart thundering, a rhythm that resonated in the room. The meeting eventually adjourned, leaving behind a swirl of unresolved tensions. As Sarah stepped outside, the evening breeze wrapped around her, invigorating yet haunting. Her children were waiting, clinging to her legs, eyes wide. "Did you win, Mommy?" Mia asked, a shimmer of innocence piercing through the fog of doubt. "Let us just say it's not over," Sarah replied, a forced smile masking her uncertainty. She gazed back at the building where dreams tangled with reality. They walked home, the sun setting behind them, casting long shadows. Even in the glow of twilight, the challenges ahead loomed larger than life. With every step, Sarah felt an urgent question pressing against her heart. Would she have the strength to face whatever came next? And more importantly, would her town rise together or fracture under the weight of change? Tomorrow would bring another meeting, another chance for voices to be heard. As they rounded the corner of their street, Sarah whispered a prayer that hope would outshine despair in the hearts of her neighbors. But would it be enough when someone unveiled a secret about the true nature of the artifact that could change everything? The morning sun painted the town in hues of gold and orange. Sarah stood in her kitchen, mind racing with thoughts of the meeting that awaited her. Coffee brewed, sending comforting aromas swirling around the room, but her mind felt anything but settled. The fragile ember of hope she had carried from last night's meeting flickered uncertainly with every passing moment. "Mommy, can we go to the park today?" Noah's innocent request cut through her thoughts, a bubble of joy in an ocean of uncertainty. His brown curls bounced as he shifted impatiently on his feet. "Later, sweetheart. We have some things to take care of first," she murmured, forcing a smile as she poured the coffee. He frowned but turned back to his toys, the magic of childhood unbroken by adult worries. As she packed lunches, her phone buzzed. It was a message from Tom. "Meet me at the cafe before the meeting. I have something we need to discuss." Her heartbeat quickened. Tom's optimism had a way of lifting spirits, but what could he have to share before the meeting? She grabbed her things and stepped out, cloaked in determination. The streets welcomed her with their familiar sights. The old oak trees whispered secrets of the past, but she couldn't shake the feeling that urgent change was rushing in, like a storm cloud hovering just out of sight at the cafe. The smell of fresh pastries filled the air. Tom sat at a corner table, a stack of papers in front of him. When he saw her, his face brightened. "You made it," he exclaimed, his voice a buoy in her sea of concern. "What's going on?" she asked, sliding into the seat across from him. "I pulled some records from the town archives," he said, his brow furrowed as he handed her the top page. "Look at this." It was a diagram, detailing an artifact believed to be buried somewhere near Maple Grove. "What is this?" she asked, scanning the text beneath the illustration. "They think it's connected to the town's founding. If we can find it, we might just have something to draw in tourism. A festival, a treasure hunt. It could help reinvigorate our local economy, while keeping our history alive. Her mind raced. This could be the opportunity they needed. Yet, a nagging doubt clawed at her insides. And if it doesn't work? What if people get disappointed? Tom leaned closer, the light of insight illuminating his earnest face. What if it does work? We can't let fear hold us back. This is about our past, but also about our future. Sarah felt warmth bloom in her chest. Here it was again a flicker of hope. She could just picture the town buzzing with excitement, families arriving to explore their history, all while remembering that they were more than just neighbors. They were a community. Yet there was a sharper edge to her hope. Would they be ready to unite? Could this fragile idea withstand the looming confrontation with Jerry and the others who prioritized revenue over remembrance? She took a deep breath, steadying herself. As they prepared to leave, Tom caught her gaze. We need people on board, Sarah. We need them to see the potential in this. The meeting was approaching, and with it came the looming sense of urgency. She nodded, feeling the weight of leadership beneath her determination. Let us do this. As they stepped outside, skies darkened with clouds that threatened rain. The town looked different, somehow more alive, yet troubled. Mommy, are we going to the park? Noah's voice piped up again. She knelt to meet his eyes, catching a reflection of her own turmoil and longing. I promise we will. But first we might have a big adventure to plan. With her heart full of cautious optimism, they headed toward town, unaware of the secret that lay beneath their feet, waiting to be discovered. What would it reveal? Would this artifact become the symbol they needed to pull their town together? Or would it uncover more fractures than they were ready to face? The town square bustled with life as Sarah and Noah approached. Stalls lined the sidewalks, vendors showcasing their wares and families darting from one booth to another. Laughter echoing in the air lifted Sarah's spirits, but the clouds above loomed heavy, a physical reminder of her anxiety. Mommy, look! Noah pointed toward a face painter who was skillfully putting colorful designs on eager children. Her heart tugged at the sight. Noah, with his vibrant imagination, would love this. But today wasn't about face paintings. It was about a legacy. After the meeting, promise. She ruffled his hair and steered him toward the community center where the town hall meeting would be held. As they walked, she felt the weight of eyes on her. Opinions and whispers traveled faster than any news. Would they rally around this idea, or would she become the target of skepticism? Inside, the room buzzed with conversations. Tom was set up in the corner with printed flyers and promotional material, a beacon of enthusiasm. As she approached, she took a moment to breathe. It was now or never. Ready? He asked with a grin, holding up a flyer that bore the town's seal and a captivating image of the artifact. Let us hope they see the magic in this, she replied, her voice a fraction steadier. Noah clutched her hand, the warmth grounding her nerves. Soon, the mayor stepped up to the podium, the crowd settling down as lights dimmed. Thank you, everyone, for coming, he began, his voice booming across the room. We have a few key discussions today, but first, let us welcome Sarah and Tom. The applause was polite, but she noticed murmurs of doubt ripple through the crowd as they approached. She could feel the moisture in the air, the storm creeping closer. With Tom beside her, she took a deep breath. Good evening, everyone. Today we want to share something special. A vision to revitalize Maple Grove. It involves a historical artifact that we believe, if uncovered, could unite our community and bring visitors to our town. She could sense the atmosphere shift. Then came the questions. How can we trust this will work? What if it fails? Skepticism hung like thick fog in the room. Tom chimed in, we understand it's a risk, but imagine children running through the town during a treasure hunt. Families bonding over history. We need to believe in something bigger. Someone from the back shouted, what does it matter if we dig it up? Our town thrives on the here and now. A gut punch. The words struck at the heart of Sarah's purpose. She fought the urge to retreat. It matters because our past is a foundation we can build on. It's not just about what's in our pockets. It's about who we are. We have an opportunity to connect our community with its roots, with something meaningful. The silence hung in the air, as thick and electric as the storm clouds outside. Noah's grip tightened on her hand, grounding her. She glanced down, taking in his hopeful eyes, so full of faith that they would find a way. She turned back to the crowd, gauging their reactions, a mix of contemplation and resentment. Finally, the mayor nodded, a signal for them to continue. She took a step forward, energized by hope. What if we launch an exploratory committee? Let us gather volunteers, create excitement. Not just for this artifact, but for our town. Some heads nodded while others remained skeptical, but a ripple of curiosity sparked in the crowd. Tom caught her eye, his faith palpable, and she felt a swell of encouragement. This was just the beginning. As people shared their thoughts, moving into passionate discussions, she realized she was not just fighting for history but for memories yet to be made. But just then, the doors burst open. The wind whistled through, carrying the smell of rain, and in walked Jerry, his face set like stone. The room stilled, and Sarah's heart drummed in her chest. Would he quash their budding dreams? As his gaze locked onto hers, she felt an all-too-familiar tension in the air. She braced herself for his words, unsure if they would tear down their hopes or build a bridge of unexpected support. This wasn't over yet. What would Jerry say, and how would it change everything they hoped to achieve? The moment Jerry stepped inside, the atmosphere shifted like the wind that swept across the town square. His presence was commanding, and Sarah felt her stomach tighten. Everyone turned to him as if he were the storm they had been fearing rather than the solution they hoped for. "Let us hear it then," Jerry said, his tone cutting through the murmur of anticipation. "What's the big deal about some old artifact? Are we really wasting time and money on something that may not even exist?" Sarah opened her mouth to respond, but the words wouldn't form. She glanced at Tom, who stood steadfast beside her, eyes narrowed in concentration. Noah squeezed her hand tighter, clinging to her side as if he sensed the tension rising. "Jerry," Tom started, his voice bravely rising above the anxious silence. "This project could lift our town in ways you can't imagine. It's not just about the artifact. It's about community, heritage, and future." "Community, you say?" Jerry shot back, crossing his arms. "What about the communities that have tried and failed? Where are they now? Just a bunch of forgotten dreams." His words struck like a physical blow. Sarah's heart sank. Jerry had always been a realist, but now he sounded like he was willing to bury not just a project but the spirit of the entire town. "This isn't about dreams." Sarah finally found her voice, pressing forward despite the storm brewing in her heart. "It's about hope. Remember the celebrations we used to have? The stories our grandparents told? Bringing that back could turn Maple Grove into a destination. We need to reconnect with our roots before we stumble further into the future. It matters." A few heads nodded in silent agreement. Sarah found encouragement in their expressions, but she knew it wouldn't be enough without Jerry's approval. The mayor looked uncomfortable, caught between the opposing forces in the room. Jerry stepped closer, his eyes piercing hers, challenging her once more. "And when that hope crumbles, when the visitors don't flock like you hope they will, how do I explain that to the families who relied on you?" The air thickened with uncertainty. Sarah's mind raced for a response that could bridge the divide. "I can't guarantee success," she said, almost a whisper, "but I can promise we'll do everything to make it happen. Together." For a heartbeat it seemed like time paused. The storm outside swelled, echoing her uncertainty. But then, Tom seized the moment, rallying the crowd. "Guys, it's not just about this one idea. It's about shifting perspectives. We have been complacent for too long. We have a chance to build something beautiful not just for ourselves, but for our children." The crowd buzzed, voices lifting in a mixture of hope and fear, even a few cheers rising like beacons of light. Sarah's heart quickened. Maybe they could turn this around. But Jerry's look didn't change. He was not swayed yet. "By all means, pursue your fantasies. But I'll be watching closely, and I won't hesitate to step in if you're heading for disaster." His words hung heavy in the air like a storm cloud. The crowd fell silent again, grappling with this ultimatum. Sarah's heart raced. Was she being foolish to think they could make this work, knowing someone powerful was watching for failure? Can we count on you to help instead? She asked softly, her voice steady now despite the pressure. We need someone with your knowledge in our corner. He studied her for a long moment, and she felt the hope within the room teetering on a knife's edge. Finally, he replied, help doesn't come for free. Show me you one buckle under the pressure first. As he turned and walked away, murmurs of mixed emotions rose within the crowd, leaving Sarah feeling torn between fear and hope. The meeting continued, but she could only think about what it meant to have Jerry's cautious eyes on them. The weight of expectation pressed heavily on her shoulders. Noah leaned against her, his small voice breaking through her worries. Mommy, what if magic happens? She looked down at him, his innocence a stark contrast to her swirling thoughts. Maybe it can, buddy. Magic happens when we believe in each other. As the discussion swirled around her, the reality of what lay ahead settled in. The storm was not just in the skies but within their community. They would need to fight for this vision, for every ounce of faith against skepticism. But could she find the courage to face Jerry's challenge? Could she lead the town in a direction they all so desperately needed? As she watched Tom spark life in the crowd with ideas, she knew it was a fight worth having. The question loomed large. Would their dreams survive the storm? The days that followed the meeting were a whirlwind for Sarah. Each one came and went, filled with frantic energy and nervous anticipation. The weight of Jerry's challenge lingered over her like a gray cloud, but she found purpose in the flickering hopes of her community. Every morning, she woke with a renewed sense of determination, strategies flooding her mind like the brisk autumn air that swept through Maple Grove. Tom became her ally in the endeavor, brainstorming ideas that would captivate the town. They slapped poster after poster on bare trees and lampposts, advertising town meetings aimed at generating excitement. The theme was clear: rekindle our heritage. Sarah hoped the public would rally behind their roots, but deep down, she felt the specter of doubt whispering in the corners of her mind. One chilly evening, she met Tom in the town library, surrounded by the musty scent of old books and forgotten dreams. I really think we can make a difference, she said, tracing the edge of a dusty leather-bound tome. We just need a spark, something tangible to ignite everyone's passion. Tom leaned back, folding his arms thoughtfully. What if we could organize a fundraising event? Something fun like a harvest festival where everyone can share stories of the past? It'll draw people in and remind them of what Maple Grove used to be. Sarah's heart raced at the thought. The idea was infectious. Yes, we could have booths with crafts, local food, even a storytelling competition. People love sharing their history. The more they discussed, the more their enthusiasm electrified the air around them as they left the library. The sky painted hues of orange and purple, signaling the onset of evening. They spotted a few townsfolk walking toward the grocery store, their laughter bubbling through the air. Let us talk to them, Sarah suggested, a new wave of energy washing over her. They approached the small group, and as they introduced the festival idea, she could see their faces brighten. This could be exactly what we need, one woman exclaimed, her eyes sparkling. The others chimed in, their voices intertwining with excitement as they fueled the growing momentum. Word spread quickly through the community. In just a few days, the idea evolved, blossoming into something bigger than Sarah had imagined. The committee formed, transforming into a tangle of passion and ideas. People began to donate time, resources, even their stories. This was something real, a glimpse of hope shining through the cracks of doubt. Yet, whispers still lingered in the back of her mind, hazarding a reminder of Jerry's scrutiny. What if it was all just a ruse? What if the skepticism he embodied proved right? That question gnawed at her at night when she lay awake, staring at the ceiling while the wind howled outside her window. Despite her apprehensions, the festival day arrived, vibrant with activity. Banners waved in the light breeze, and laughter filled the air. Felt like magic. As she moved through the crowd, watching families embrace each other, Sarah felt something shift inside her. She wasn't just a visionary anymore. She was a part of a larger tapestry woven by so many hands, But then, just as the festivities reached their zenith, she caught sight of Jerry standing at the edge of the park, arms crossed, eyes sharp and critical. Her heart plummeted. The storm might not be over yet. Would he crush all they had built in a single breath? Could her community rally against the looming shadows? Or would Jerry's doubt snuff out the flame they had ignited? With renewed resolve, she steadied herself, knowing the stakes had never been higher. The question now was, could hope withstand scrutiny? As the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting a warm golden glow over the festival, Sarah took a deep breath, steadying herself. She couldn't let Jerry's presence darken the joyous atmosphere that had enveloped Maple Grove. She turned her attention back to the crowd, excitement bubbling all around her. Children darted to and fro, their laughter mingling with the clinking of glasses at the food stalls, while adults exchanged familiar faces and stories from years past. "Right," Tom said, his voice rising above the buzz. "Let us kick off the storytelling competition. Everyone gather around the main stage." He championed the call with an infectious enthusiasm, and the crowd began to migrate, drawn by the promise of nostalgia mixed with laughter. Sarah took her place behind the microphone, adrenaline pumping through her veins. "Welcome, everyone," she called out, her voice steady despite the butterflies in her stomach. "We're here today to celebrate our heritage, our stories, and each other. Let us remind ourselves of what it means to be from this place." She gestured to the makeshift stage, her heart swelling as familiar faces shared smiles in the crowd. Tom stood beside her, beaming. "This is just the beginning," he whispered, giving her a supportive nudge. As the first storyteller stepped up, Sarah felt a wash of emotions. The sincerity of each story resonated, weaving together a tapestry of shared experiences: the beloved diner on Main Street, the fishing trips in the nearby river, the rich history of the town's founding families. Yet, as the tales unfurled, her mind flickered back to Jerry, who stood in stark contrast to the warmth enveloping her. What was he thinking? An unmistakable hardness clung to his features, as if he were waiting for the perfect moment to strike. She could feel the weight of his scrutiny pressed against her back, threatening to pull her down. The competition reached a fever pitch. Laughter erupted as a grandmother recounted her first encounter with Maple Grove, braving a harsh winter all alone and discovering not just the spirit of the town but her own resilience, too. As the crowd clapped and cheered, Sarah couldn't help but smile. This was the essence of community: laughter through adversity, unity through storytelling. Then the atmosphere shifted. Jerry stepped forward, his voice cutting through the cheerful chatter. "Is this all just nostalgia? A parade of outdated tales? We can't thrive on the past. We need vision, industry, something concrete." The laughter faded into hushed murmurs, eyes darting to one another, uncertainty hovering in the air like a thick fog. Sarah's heart sank. Jerry's words felt like ice water thrown over a warm fire. But she stammered, searching for a thread of hope. "These stories connect us. They build our identity. Isn't that important?" He met her gaze, the intensity behind his eyes piercing. "Identities change, Sarah. The world outside is buzzing. Will you cling to shadows?" In that moment, Sarah felt the weight of her mission press against her like never before. Was she simply grasping at shadows? Or could their festival serve as a catalyst for something greater, something that honored the past while embracing the future? The crowd began to murmur, and she noticed a glimmer of fear in some faces. Doubt was creeping in. Staring out among her friends and neighbors, she realized she needed to do more than rally them. She had to inspire them to push through fear. Taking a deep breath, she leaned into the mic once more, determination lighting her up from within. "Stories remind us who we are, but they also show us who we can become." She could feel the vibration of her own words, the urgency resonating deep within her bones. Before she could continue, however, another voice called out from the back. "What if we combine the old with the new? What if we become more than a memory?" A young man stood, his eyes lit with inspiration. And just like that, hope flickered back to life. But questions remained. Who would truly take that leap? What unforeseen challenges lay ahead? The moment hung in the air, electric and uncertain. The murmurs of the crowd buzzed like bees around a blossoming flower. Sarah felt a wave of relief wash over her as the young man's voice rang with conviction. She exchanged glances with Tom and saw in his eyes the same flicker of hope she felt stirring within her. The crowd slowly turned toward the young man, curiosity taking the place of doubt. "Yep," he continued, stepping slightly forward, his enthusiasm infectious. "We've got traditions rooted deep in our past, but why can't we build something more? Something vibrant and alive?" The crowd shifted, some faces lighting up, nodding in agreement. Others remained skeptical. Jerry scowled, crossing his arms, his expression a mixture of disdain and irritation. But this time, Sarah didn't let the tension steal her spark. Taking another breath, she addressed the gathering, her voice steady and strong. "It's about balance." She held up her hands as if to cradle the past and the future. "We can honor our stories while we pave the way for innovation. We can blend nostalgia with new ideas, find strength in our roots, and create a rise toward something fresh." A ripple of excitement spread through those closest to her. A woman in the front shouted, "What about the old stories? They're the foundation of who we are." "Exactly." Sarah beamed, thrilled to see the passion ignited. "We learn from our history to dream of our future. Together, we can cultivate a community that thrives on both." The crowd began to cheer, a wave of voices rising as fear began to dissipate. They were starting to see it. They were more than just whispers of the past. They were a living, breathing community with hearts ready to beat in unison with new dreams. Nervous but brave, a middle-aged man took the stage next. "I love what you said, Sarah. I'd like to share our family's tale of resilience, but I also know our family can adapt and grow. What if we started workshops where we teach the kids the old arts, the things that made us who we are? Then we could blend that with new tech. Imagine the films we could make." "Yes." Another voice chimed in, "We could start a program for local artists, connecting young and old." As the crowd rallied around these brainstorming ideas, Sarah felt an electric charge pulsating in the air. It was the fulfilling sense of possibility, the kind that made her heart race and her spirit soar. Together, they were weaving a new narrative, one that combined their beloved history with ambitious dreams. But amid the rising excitement, Sarah couldn't shake the oppressive weight of Jerry's glare. He was still their wild card, lingering in the shadows. What would he do next? Just as she contemplated the next steps forward, an unexpected voice pierced through the clamor. It was Jerry, stepping forward once more, his voice surprisingly calm. "But what happens when your dreams collide with reality? Can you truly merge the past with a vision? Are you all prepared for that?" His question hung in the air, a challenge wrapped in finesse, pulling everyone's attention back to uncertainty. Sarah's pulse quickened. She knew they needed a plan, a concrete way to structure these thoughts and ideas into something real. But as the crowd's energy began to shift again, she wondered if they were ready to face whatever Jerry had in store for them. With her heart pounding, she glanced around for support. Could they defend their newfound hope against the weight of skepticism? Or would Jerry's words cut through the momentum they had begun to build? The spotlight felt heavy on her shoulders, illuminating not only her fears, but also the hope flickering within her community. How would they rise to meet Jerry's challenge? Would they crumble, or could they truly forge ahead together, bridging their past with the vibrant future they could create? The crowd stirred, a symphony of hope and doubt. Sarah stood at the center, heart racing, grappling with the weight of Jerry's words. They echoed in her mind the doubts, the questions. She couldn't deny the truth behind them. Reality had a way of creeping in, often bringing harsh lessons with it. "Let us think about this," she began, her voice firm but gentle. "What if we focused on the solutions? Let us not linger too long in the shadows of doubt." She scanned the faces surrounding her. "We've already begun to dream, so let us ground those dreams with action." A murmur of agreement rolled through the crowd, and she felt a shared determination flicker to life. What could they do? Sarah took another step forward, her confidence growing. "How about organizing a community think tank? We can gather every month, share ideas, and build action plans. Let's invite everyone, the artists, the historians, the youth. Let us make this an inclusive dialogue. A voice piped up from the back, a familiar one. It was Tom. And we can post everything online. Share our plans, successes, and challenges. We can create a platform for everyone to contribute, keeping our dreams alive in every corner of the town. Nods rippled through the crowd as excitement swelled. Even Jerry's scowl softened slightly, though doubt still lurked in his eyes. Sarah felt the momentum shift. They were starting to believe. Then, unexpectedly, a young girl broke through the throng, her crutch clinking lightly as she hobbled forward. She looked up at Sarah with wide eyes. "Can I help? I want to be part of it. I can draw and tell stories. I know the old tales." Her eagerness was contagious, and the crowd softened, shifting closer, leaning into her light. "Absolutely." Sarah knelt beside her, a warm smile spreading across her face. "Your voice matters, and your art can inspire others. We will absolutely find a place for you." There was something magical about her spirit, a reminder that hope could sparkle even in the darkest corners. The girl grinned, radiating joy, and in that moment, Sarah felt like they were building a bridge, one where everyone could walk together toward a shared dream. Quickly, more voices joined in. Parents offered talents in organizing, educators pitched in with curriculum ideas, and artists promised to host workshops. But as enthusiastic chatter filled the air, Sarah still felt Jerry watching, analyzing. She needed to address him. "Jerry," she called, eyes steady. "What do you think? How can we address your concerns together?" Silence fell as he weighed her question. The crowd seemed to hold its breath. "You might have a lot of ideas," he said slowly, "but action takes commitment. Will you all stick together when things get tough?" His skepticism was thick, and Sarah felt a chill run through the warmth they had just ignited. "We will," she answered firmly, drawing strength from the voices surrounding her. "And together we'll navigate every challenge. That's how communities thrive." The crowd buzzed again, excitement mixing with a tinge of fear. Would they be strong enough? Tom squeezed her hand, a silent promise of solidarity. Then, just as the energy reached its height, a sudden commotion erupted on the fringe of the gathering. People turned in disbelief. A figure pushed through the crowd, waving frantically, eyes wide with urgency. "What's happening?" Sarah thought, her heart clutching with uncertainty. The air was charged, anticipation thick as they waited for the stranger to speak. Could it be a warning, a revelation, or worse, a challenge that would threaten everything they had just begun to build? One thing was certain: this was not over. Not by a long shot. The crowd parted as Jerry's voice rang out amid the chaos, curiosity morphing into concern. "What's going on?" he called, his tone mixed with annoyance and the slightest hint of intrigue. The stranger, an artist known for her vibrant murals in town, gasped, breathless and wide-eyed. "I just got news from the archives. The artifact, it's real. And it could be hidden under the old oak tree." Gasps echoed through the assembly. The air shifted, excitement and tension mingling like storm clouds threatening rain. Sarah's heart raced, and she could see the wheels turning in the minds of everyone around her. "Under the old oak. That's where the festival is taking place," Tom exclaimed, punctuating that moment with undeniable excitement. "We need to investigate," someone shouted, sparking chatter among the crowd. Jerry's brow furrowed, the shadows of skepticism still cast over his face. "How do we know it's there?" he demanded, skepticism rising again. "But this wasn't about fear. It was a surge of hope, because it's part of our story," Sarah replied, stepping forward, emboldened by the moment. "What if this is our chance to prove that we can honor our past while shaping our future? This is a treasure to build excitement." The crowd buzzed with renewed energy. Doubts began to melt away into the possibility of something tangible. "Can we do it?" Tom asked, igniting the spark in their eyes further. "Yes," cried out the artist, firing everyone up. "We can form teams, divide research, and begin the search tomorrow. Together." The atmosphere felt electric, dreams weaving into reality as people joined together, whispering ideas and forming plans. Sarah could hardly contain the warmth swelling in her chest. This wasn't just about finding the artifact anymore, it was about the community discovering their strength together. Let us bring the equipment we'll need, someone suggested. Everyone can contribute. We could hold a workshop to make it collaborative. Yes. Sarah felt tears prick at her eyes. Yet, as the crowd grew more animated, she caught sight of Jerry again, his face still a mask of skepticism. This was supposed to be a gathering of ideas, he interjected, not a treasure hunt. Your dreams won't pay the bills if things don't pan out. We know that, she countered, unwavering. But this is more than just profit. It's about proving what we can accomplish together. We won't just be a fleeting memory in the past. We will create a legacy. He studied her intently for a moment that felt endless, weighing possibility against doubt. Finally, he spoke, his voice quieter but no less stern. Okay, but if you're going to pursue this, really commit, you better bring everyone on board. And just like that, the tides began to shift. Sarah looked around, seeing the strength of everyone rallying behind the movement. We can do this, she exclaimed. Let us gather the equipment, form teams, and meet at the old oak tree tomorrow. Everyone bring your ideas, your energy, your tools. Heads nodded, determination settling over the crowd like a warm blanket. The spirits soared, igniting hope that none of them had ever expected to be generated from simply digging into the ground of their cherished maple grove. That night, Sarah lay awake, excitement buzzing through her veins. Tomorrow will mark a change, she thought, drifting into a deep, peaceful sleep filled with dreams of adventure and discovery. The next morning dawned bright and clear. The sense of anticipation hung in the air as people gathered at the old oak tree, tools in hand, laughter echoing through the space. A joyous choir of community as teams formed. Sarah felt an overwhelming warmth, her heart full of joy and strength as they all shared stories, sprinkled with laughter. The tree stood, strong and ancient, rooting them to their past while they reached for the sky, ready to embrace the future. Let us get started. Tom rallied, and with an energy that mimicked first light breaking through the darkness, they began their search. As they dug, stories flew about not just about the artifact, but of dreams, memories, and the beauty of togetherness. With every shovel of earth turned, they grew stronger as a community, celebrating their roots while sparking visions of what could be. Hours passed, and finally, a yell rang out. We found something. The crowd gathered around, eyes wide with excitement. Was it the artifact they had hoped for? Above them, the old oak's leaves rustled as if holding their collective breath. With a collective effort, they unearthed a small, dusty chest. Sarah felt her heart race, pounding as they opened it, memories of those once shared filling her again, bursting into vibrant colors. Inside lay not merely articles from the past, but stories and symbols of resilience, connection, and hope. Tears filled her eyes as she glanced around at faces locked in collective awe. They were not only uncovering a physical artifact, they were reclaiming their identity, their community, a tapestry stitched together through love, laughter, and shared stories. And in that instant, standing together under the wrap of their beloved oak tree, Sarah knew they had triumphed not against Jerry, nor for profit, but for one another, for Maple Grove. Together, she whispered, looking at her children and neighbors around her. Cheers erupted, filling the air with a renewed spirit that promised to bind them together, their roots intertwining as they flourished, ready to embrace whatever transformed their beloved Maple Grove into a vibrant tale of hope for generations to come. Today, they had not simply found a treasure. They had discovered each other, becoming the foundation upon which everything beyond would stand tall. Now is the time for you to celebrate with us. If you felt inspired by this tale, subscribe immediately to make sure you don't miss out on our next transformative stories. Leave a like now to keep the momentum going, for every click fuels the magic of connection. I want to hear your thoughts. Comment about how this story moved you or how you see your community coming together. And don't wait not even one more second, share this video with at least 5 friends who need this inspiration in their lives. True fans know that together, we amplify our voices.